to lifestyles of the strange and exotic. Pirate Hat DIY. And the pattern is free from fleecefun.com. And there are 4 different sizes. You've got the mini hat, the small hat, medium hat, and the large hat. That right there is the large hat, and hiding behind it is the small. And we shall get started. I am kind of working with 2 cameras here. So this is my setup, so hopefully you will see something of the actual working conditions here. So make sure you have gathered all of your materials and that your glue gun is hot and ready to go. And we shall get started.
For this project, you will need whichever pattern you have chosen to print up. And sorry about the sound, I'm attempting a voiceover. This is the medium hat. That's the mini tricone hat, which is printed on 2 pieces of paper. In the larger patterns, you will need to line up the gray stripes to cut as a whole pattern. And this is the mini hat, which the pattern is all on one page, which is really nice and saves paper. You will also be needing various amounts of rickrack, lace, I have these stripes of beads. Feathers are a must just because they're cool. Pretty much any strip of anything like this that you can find laying around your house. This is just maybe 1% of all the stuff that I have. This is the stuff you will trick out your hat with, and I will leave that up to you. You will also be needing soft felt in whatever color you like. Most of these hats are usually done in black. This is a harder felt, which you can use, and I needed to use it because I didn't have enough of the soft felt, but preferably the soft felt, which is 23 cents in Walmart. Probably even cheaper if it's on sale. And they come in vast amounts of colors. You will need to find your cloth scissors and scissors that are good for paper, a hot glue gun and glue sticks. High temp would probably be best, and a paste stick. You could probably use cold. Hot seems to work better for felt. And we should be good to go.
Now for this project, as you see here, we shall be using the mini tricorn hat small. Now they're all called mini tricorn hats. You have mini, small, medium, and large. This is the small. And this is the size. And it's roughly the size of my hand. It's cute. It'd be good for like a doll or a little kid, but they're just so cute. So this is the size we'll be making. You will need roughly 2 pieces of black felt, and depending what you want for the border, I might use red this time because I have some scrap pieces of felt, and I'll show you how to do that later. Or white, which is what the standard is. You can use cording. I would use elastic part right here to give it that little extra oomph. Now using a sheet of felt will make it probably a little smaller, but it should still work either way. So the first thing you want to do is cut out yon pattern. Now being that this is the small and the mini is the same way, you don't have to overlap any pages. That's what the gray area is for, because they're all right on the one sheet, so this is easy to cut out. You can cut out all your pieces, and you will be cutting out on the sharp black line right here, right now. So take your paper scissors. Longer scissors are better to kind of cut these kind of curves, because you can do one long thing. And try to be as even as you can when you cut it out. Because when you fold the felt over, your cut marks will kind of show if you are way off the mark. Now your pattern will become part of the hat, so you will not be throwing these away, you'll be wearing this. This is just plain cardstock. That's why you print your pattern on the cardstock, because it becomes incorporated as a stabilizing agent in your hat, especially when using the plain boring craft felt. And you will be cutting one of the pattern, but two of the felt. And I'll get to that shortly, but right now we will be cutting again on the solid black line. I like that. You now have your 3 pieces of your pattern. You will also be needing just plain old chalk. I have a very ancient chalk pencil that I got many years ago that I can't really find anymore. It's a very soft chalk, but something that you can trace around on your felt with. You can use permanent marker or anything, just make sure it doesn't bleed through. Chalk is the best, and you can wipe it off later. Now, I'm going to show you with this first, your main piece. Now, as you see here, I have my piece of felt, and I'm hoping you see something else. Now, take your tricorn hat brim and place it on your felt and simply trace around it. And you can place it anywhere you pretty much want. I try to utilize as little space as you can so you can have enough leftovers for something else. I don't like wasting, my craft supplies. Even though felt is fairly cheap, so I have to get more when I get to Walmart, yes. So just do it all the way around. And try not to tug too hard on the felt so you end up with like this strange geometric shape here. So you should have a circle like that. Cut out the middle here, which is the hole your wall will go through. And this will be on both the small and the large pieces of felt. The best way I found to do that is basically without bending. You do not want to bend your piece here, is to take your scissors and basically just scrape back and forth until you break through the cardstock. There you go, enough that you can get your scissors in there, and then just go around and cut the hole out. Now that you have your actual piece cut out, now that you have this part traced, take your pattern and now cut on the dotted line. So you're basically cutting maybe a little more than 1/4 off, and this is important. Make sure you trace first your first felt piece, then cut, and then you'll have your pattern for your second brim piece. And this one's a little trickier because you're little round dots, so you're not quite sure where to go. But I try to, cut the dots in half, basically. Gives you a little better guideline as to where precisely to cut. It makes it really hard. Now take your felt piece and center it as best you can, and just trace the inside. So you'll be cutting a hole out of both brim pieces. Now, it doesn't matter what color cardstock you use to cut these out of, because you will not see any of the pattern once we are finished. Cut that piece away. And if you're lucky, maybe it'll fit on your piece, but if not, this is why you have 2 pieces of black felt that will save that part for the other thing anyway. So, take your now shrunk brim piece and do the same thing. Trace around it. There you go. So there you go. Now put your brim piece aside, we'll be needing that later. Now, since we have those 2 cut and ready to those 2 traced and ready to go, we shall cut them out with the felt. And make sure you have a halfway decent sharp set of scissors. Cloth scissors, very good for this. This is why I have 50 million sets of scissors. Okay. And you'll be able to tell your pieces apart since one will obviously be smaller than the other. So here's our other piece. So we'll put those aside right now. And again, with your black felt, take your, see, I'm trying to read this on the thing backwards, the wall, and this is the part we'll bend around. That'll kind of be the chimney of your hat. And hopefully we'll have enough to do this one. Yay! Now these are just standard size pieces of felt. You can get it bigger, larger. This is just enough. My stone pen is screwed over here to cut out your brim, and you only need one. Okay, and this is your wall piece, and we'll put that aside. Now take your pattern and again cut on the dotted lines. Now put this aside, and you'll only be using this piece as your base. You will not be cutting or tracing around your shrunk piece. And now that you have cut out your shrunk piece, put it aside. You will not need but the one that we've just already done. This is now going to be your stabilizer for your hat chimney. And then again, do the same with the top of your hat. Trace once around on the solid line, cut it out of your felt, and then shrink this down. And that's it. Put that aside. And that's it for tracing. So you can put aside your chalk. Cut out your felt here. You can put away your cloth scissors. And shrink your final piece of your pattern. Shrink is just a much more fun word than cutting down. We shall violently hack at the paper till we get it to our size. The more spheroid this is, the better. Okay, and there's your pattern. So what we should have is round. So what we should have is round piece of felt with shrunk cardboard or cardstock pattern, one felt brim piece with shrunken pattern, one large brim piece, this is the wall I should say, one large brim piece, your shrunk brim pattern, and your traced shrunk felt piece. So these are all your main hat. Now, to assembly. Now this is when this will come in handy. You can use any glue. Only thing you're using this for is to secure this on the felt, so it doesn't slide around when we get to the next step. Okay. But there we go. Now take your large brim piece here, lay it on your surface. I'll put the little piece aside for now. And just paste, add your glue enough to secure the back here. Now turn your pattern over. Not necessarily that important, but it overprinted, so I have a pretty pattern now. And just paste down the back here. This doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to hold it down. And now center it. On the large piece, just like that. Now you want to be seeing about an even border here. Just like that. So, here, top here. And again, you want to be as even as you can around here. You want the same circumference, or same fourth allowance. You want it to look like that. It should look like that. So put your pieces aside here and go back to your first piece. Grab your glue gun, which should be nice and hot. And make sure you have plenty of these standing by. The glue sticks. Now, I hate this finger thingies. Now you want to be working kind of fast with this, but you also don't want to be a slob about it either. Now take your hot glue gun and work your way around here. And then enough that should be nice and secure. And fold up your felt. Make sure it's up against this part. So you want to fold like this. Tuck it up like nice. And be warned, you'll probably hurt yourself. And do this all the way around. And make sure your pattern remains flat. You don't want it curving. Not quite yet, anyway. And the pattern should look like this. Now with the brim, this is where we take our second smaller piece. Now if you still see where you've marked it, put that down so it will be hidden by your pattern. So this will be going like this. But before we do that, if we choose to have the little white line here, this is where we do this step. Now take either your elastic or cording. Right now I just have the felt. And cut it into strips about the same size as your allowance right here. You can do wider too, but you know, I wouldn't go any bigger than this, surely not smaller than this. You might need, and you'll be putting around like this. Well, maybe another piece. This is a good way to get you rid of some scraps here. Now you don't have to cut these perfect. Just make sure at least one side is fairly decent. You want to have at least one side fairly straight. And again with your hot glue, we shall be, and with your hot glue, we should be going around the edge like this. Now make sure that your white, your straight part is right to the edge of your black piece right here. The inside doesn't matter because you won't be seeing that. What you'll be seeing is what will be edge on right here. So get as close to the edge as you can without going over and glue down. Also add your glue as close to the edge as well, just to make sure it doesn't Here, and it should look like that. Now that we have your inner piece, make sure you've got your marks on the bottom, and you'll be placing it right on top. So we will have a Oreo sandwich made out of felt. And again, hot glue all the way around. There, and you should have a finished product that looks like this. Now try to clean off as much as your schmutz as you can and put this aside. Now take both of your other pieces and fold in glue as you did with the first piece. Okay. Now, as you've seen here, I did not fold over this pieces on the ends because we shall be doing this, and it kind of gives you extra bulk. Now take your brim piece and fold it into a circle like this. Now you want to make sure that your hole will not show through on the small end, because this is kind of cone shaped. Small end. The small end goes down and the large end goes up. And just feel around so you make sure that this is small enough on the top and large enough on the bottom. So just eyeball it, make sure nothing overlaps. you got your secured piece here, you can now tuck in your end piece here. Guess what looks lovely?
Also remember to glue around the inner circle for extra security.
Fold in the end like that, and secure it with a strip of glue so it stays down. Okay. Now take your piece, doesn't really matter what side, but whatever side looks the least attractive, you can put it up, which seems counterintuitive, but and place your cone, chimney, hat type thing, and place the seam where you fold it over here. It's kind of hard to see black on black on the oblong end. So you're looking like this. The seam should be facing one of these ends, the top or bottom of the egg shape. And just take the hot glue and try not to go over, just enough. If it goes over, make sure it goes on the inside. Go all the way around and center it as best you can around this hole. Again, when you're working with monochrome here, always a challenge. And we'll do the same for your top. It's fairly even as possible. And you should have a funny looking top hat. Now, make sure your glue is fairly, and this is where you become a tricone hat. Take your oblong edges, as you can tell this is long, and bend them upwards, like that. So you can have like a cowboy hat. And just kind of feel around so they're about even. And hold it like you would a hot dog or a taco. And open up the hand a little bit. And just glue to secure. And make sure you're about as even as you can on both sides, otherwise you'll have a floppy, uneven tricone hat. Okay. And at least put enough glue that you will be secure and hold for a little bit here. Make any adjustments as necessary. Okay, once that's secure, pick your least attractive end, see it's all bubbly there, and fold it upwards again. So you should have a piece that looks like this. As we back up a little bit, fold it up, there's your top. So you have your taco, and then your piece. Okay, there we go. Fold it up like that. So you'll have your. You go from a taco to like a fiesta bowl, and again, right there where it touches, you in the middle. And try to get the cones, the little pieces here, even. Okay, and you should have a piece that looks like that. Now you can go back to the front piece and fold up so your hat's got a thinner or thicker brim, whichever your heart desires. I'm going to thin it out a little more so they're a little more even to the other two pieces. You just add your glue to where you want them. And here is your basic tricone hat form. Now you can do, you know, whatever looks best to you. Longer in the front, bigger in the back. Whatever, you know, but you want to get it at least as close as possible. If you make it kind of like I did, where it's a little longer in the front, you can have a lot more stuff floating out the back. No. Floating out the front. This is the front of your hat. So that's what I plan on doing with this face here. And the next part is decorating. Now, you could add a nice brooch or something here and have things sticking out there. You can have whatever you want in here, have things sticking out on top here, or coming out the front. You can border this with rickrack, which is stuff that looks like this, and go all the way around. This part I will leave up to you. So that is your basic tricone hat. And again, here's my previous finished piece, which is a little more even here. And this was a piece of elastic. Just to give you an idea what you can do. Now to attach your hat to your head, there's a few ways you can do this. And if you're really that picky, you could probably line the inside. You can either add combs or some string. Here, it's unattached. There's some elastic, which is probably the best way to go, depending. You might even be able to attach it to a headband as well. So you have a few options, or even some barrettes. I don't do anything with my hand here. If you can find a spot place to attach them. So those are some options as to how you want to attach them to your head. And I've added some rickrack around the side and shall now attempt to make this look attractive. Thank you for watching. Do comment down below if you have made these hats, or even better, if you do make it, show me a picture and or video and share it across the world. Do rate a thumbs up if you don't want me to make any more DIYs. And subscribe. There's always room for one more at the Strange and Exotic. See you all next time. Bye!